Everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Apex, the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Split 2 is live, and we're already through the first week. We have a double day. We have a double day coming up here this weekend, so we're going to get you ready for that in a little bit. But let's talk about what has just happened here right now. What happened?
My camera was out of focus. Sorry.
I don't know. I thought you were doing some sort of dance. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's a good way to start.
For a handshake. I was so confused.
So I guess the storyline for this week would kind of be a lot of teams you'd expect to do well didn't, and they were a lot of them near the bottom. Really, the only ones that I could talk about here were ZZ and ROC, but let's go through the standings real quick. We'll kick it off with ZZ. They were your winners of the day. First place was 64 points. Second place was KCP with 60. Third place was ROC at 54. And fourth, the Do-Rags at 49 points. And this one was interesting, man. There was a lot of teams you wouldn't expect to get wins that were getting wins here throughout the day. It was just an odd one. It was an odd one overall. And I feel like we always see one of these days randomly throughout a Pro League split. But we had it the first day, and it was a weird one. So, Don, from your side of things, what did you notice the most from just some of the other teams that you wouldn't have expected to show up here in day one?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was just a lot of these teams that, again, you don't expect to really, they don't have the experience. You don't maybe expect them to come off the gate necessarily hot, but a lot of these teams just didn't seem afraid of the moment. I feel like sometimes when we get some of these qualifier teams that come in for the first time, it takes kind of a couple match days for them to show up because they got to get used to the pace of like an actual, Pro League match day, things like that. But I mean, we saw some of these teams that, again, first time in Pro League, and they absolutely showed up and were ready from the get-go. I mean, Do-Rags was a team that, again, I believe all of them on the roster are first time in Pro League. And I mean, they were so consistent throughout the day. I was very impressed with them. I know DMG was another team that finished top 5 that I don't think has much experience or little experience in Pro League. They were really consistent for most of the day. I honestly think the biggest surprise for me, though, might be KCP. I mean, Cersei coming in, there's been a lot of discourse with how his story has been so far in Pro League and being a pro, the tier 1 level. I believe he's also now IGLing, which is the first time he's ever IGL'd at this level or possibly at all. And they just ran it down. I mean, they led the lobby in kills. I mean, they were killing some teams that you don't expect them to kill in a straight up 3v3. And overall, it was just honestly a very impressive performance by KCP.
Jumbo, from your side of things, we've talked about how the way that they formatted this ALGS season is kind of unfortunate because this second split has lost a lot of its luster for a lot of the teams who are already at the top. And for some of these other teams, it's going to be so difficult for them to squeak in. Really, the only way they're going to be able to do it is if they win the Pro League or if they win in the regional finals. So do you think they're kind of just like, fuck it, we just got to send it? That's the only way we're going to be able to do anything and make it to Japan.
I guess like every day has to be good. Like, because if you are teams like KCP, Do-Rags, DMG, like you want to like keep going to Japan, like you have to win. So like, yeah, like I'm sure those teams are pretty stoked if they could find a way to keep it up. Like I do remember the beginning of last split, I could actually even probably find it pretty quick. For example, like I know like we always talk about the Falcons, and like on last like thing we were talking about our predictions and we all talked about Falcons winning, and they go out and they get 10th, right? Falcons started off last split like really bad and then came back and won. I already scrolled past it. I remember having it on my post page. But like even aside from like talking about Falcons and such there, yeah, they got 13th to start at the beginning. For these teams that you were talking about here, like Do-Rags, DMG, Pioneers, like, even Leave No Witness who's up there and everything like that. That's got to be a pretty good thing for them, like to know that they finish like top 5, top 6, and to know that like if they keep having days like that, they give themselves a better chance to get to Japan, at the very least get a good seeding for a regional final and see what they could do there. So yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, and when we talked about earlier that there was a lot of teams that you would expect to do well that didn't, and it kind of starts with Falcons there. They sit at 10th, which to their standard is a lot lower than they'd like to be. But then you also had Ape Gang down below, Sentinels, you had Nice Guys, Team Liquid, TSM at 16th, Ninjas in Pajamas at 17th, DKK, at 18th, and even Hot Dog Mafia down there at 19th. And so you have these players who have had historically good, performances at lands and in pro leagues and stuff like that, getting off to a rough start here. A lot of them probably still in a position to qualify and make it through there. And we had talked before this split had started about motivation and what it's going to mean for some of these teams going in. How hard is it going to be when you know that there's not a whole lot like on this split? And I think that, hopefully we get a change in the next ALGS season so we don't have something like this again. But I don't know. You can't just chalk it up to the lack of motivation. It was also just a weird day all the way through overall. But was there any team that stood out to you, Don? And I guess we should probably start off with the team that won, which was Team ZZ. Just from your perspective watching them, I don't believe they actually got a win in this day. They did get a second place, but they were getting a ton of KP.
Yeah, I mean ZZ, obviously they are the ex NRG roster, except for bringing in Zach as the IGL now with Guild and Sykes. Yeah, really, it was interesting to watch because again, we've had Guild and Sykes, they had played together last split, so they kind of had some chemistry already built there. But obviously, those two kind of having to adjust to how Zach plays and how he IGLs and how things work. Obviously Zach is very good at what he does. He's an IGL that's been around long enough, so it's not like they're bringing in like a brand new IGL or anything. So like in a perfect world, things would work out smoothly, right? But it's Apex, so you never can get bank on that. But I was just really impressed with how well those two were able to play off of Zach's calls, because I think that again Zach calls things maybe just a little bit differently. They played some different spots or different plays that maybe you don't traditionally would play. When you see some of these other IGLs call. So I think them just being able to trust Zach immediately right away, trust the calls that he's making, and also those two just playing off each other very well in fights. I mean, a lot of the time Zach was on crypto, so it really was those two just having to fight. And I think we really saw, Guild continuing to be Guild with how good he is in fights, and really Sykes continuing to show that, even though he may not be like the fragging role, he has the ability to absolutely pop off in fights as well. And I mean, there was a moment on E District where they have absolutely no right to survive this situation. They're getting like it's in one of the like lower. I don't even know how to describe it. It's really hard without the visual, but basically they're just in two rooms right next to each other. There's only one hallway that divides it. The other team has every chance to wipe them, and Guild and Sykes just go absolute nuclear to keep the team alive. Zach had gone down, so it literally was just those two, and they're able to fend the team off enough to reset and move on to later in the game. So I think as we continue to see Guild and Sykes' dynamic as a fighting duo, along with their trust in Zach continuing to build, I think they've got really something special cooking with ZZ, and I think it's a team that you're going to have to keep an eye on as the split goes on.
Yeah, so big shout out from ZZ. Hopefully they get an org soon. I feel like this roster is too good to get an org. And then we also get my favorite thing in the world, which is the yo-yo effect of Zach Mazer. There's going to be weeks where he's at the top. There might be some weeks where he's at the bottom, and we just happen to get one this week. We happen to get it week one.
Because we have Sykes coming on, I was like reviewing some of their stuff, and I was saying to the guys in Discord is like, if you remember when we talked to talk to Zach, a couple months ago, I was bringing up, I was like, man, like he just seems like really underrated. Like people don't talk about his IGLing nearly on the level of like other top IGLs, but whenever I watch him and he's on, I'm like, man, this guy just like conjured up an amazing plan to get his team to this spot and do this, and like any micros to the point where it reminds me a lot of like the way people used to give a ton of credit to Sweet. And I think I watch games every time Zach is like on the ball, because I'm like, I gotta watch some games where the team's like they're not having a good day, because I'm like, what is happening when they're off? Because like when they're on, I'm like, how do you just not like fucking win the day? But then there's clearly something going wrong when they're off, and I need to look into that, because it's funny, because like you said, it feels like a yo-yo. I'm like, how can you be this good right now and then like have days where they just drop to the bottom like they did after we interviewed them? Are we jinxing this team again? Do you think Zach's gonna tell Sykes like don't get on the call?
It could be that.
No.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I think, dude, it does seem like that should be something we do in the future, because I've never thought of that. I always just watch them when they're doing good. I just want to, like, how much of it is bad luck? Like, how much of it is it's just like happenstance, like something crazy happens that wouldn't normally happen. I just got to go back and look at it, because It's insane. It's even crazier too because it just feels like he gets in these situations sometimes where it's like the perfect iteration of the Zach Mazer effect was them contesting Nasky and then all of a sudden dropping one of the craziest games of all time in Jurassic on Stormpoint, like
Yeah.
right after. They finally get to play the game, they win with a shit ton of kills. It's beautiful. It's one of the funnest things to watch.
It should
So
be exciting to
congrats
watch
to
too because
ZZ.
like Guild and Sykes, when you go accolades based, this is the best team probably Zach's had ever. I don't know. Like he's had good players who are up there. Like he played with Naughty Owl back in the day. He played I think with Naughty Knocked. Yeah, there was that whole situation that was way back. Shuby Zap obviously are great, and if I think they had a different outcome at LA, that team would have stuck together and done great things. But Guild Sykes, like even like Blue Slayer, like like they're good players, but Guild Sykes a crazy team. Might be Zach's best team he's had.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't argue with that at all. Like just looking back at all the rosters, like 100%, I could see that as
Both
well.
of them have multiple top 5 finishes land. They
Yeah.
finished
Yeah.
4th last like thing. Like, it's gonna be an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, and I was listening back to our first interview with Sykes years and years and years ago when he was still on XSET, and just thinking about from that version of him to now and how much accolades he's added since then, and it's just like, damn, like it's kind of just it's crazy the arc that he's been on, and then you pair him with Zach, and then you have Guild on the other side of it, man. It's going to be interesting.
The funny thing I've always said about Sykes, if you look at his placements, he goes fourth, misses finals for LAN, and he goes like second, third, misses finals for LAN, and then recently he went 8th, 7th, misses finals for LAN. Like my man is having like a fucking stellar performance and then missing finals the next LAN. He's got 2 in him. So champs, maybe fucking top 3.
Maybe that's
champs.
it. Maybe his next iteration is 1-1 misses finals for LAN.
And like,
which at that point,
I take that trade off.
yeah, you take it all day.
yeah, he'd take it
Take that all day.
Guild's is even more heartbreaking. I think Guild has the most second place finishes.
It's actually insane.
Yeah.
Who were we interviewing that said that they looked over at Guild when when one of the lands ended and you could just see the pain in his face?
Yeah.
Of just being like,
I don't
know.
remember, but like
I don't
do
remember who it
that.
was.
Yeah. Was it someone that it had to be someone that teamed with
It
him.
had to be somebody he was teaming with.
Yeah, because no, it's like they felt pain, but as Guild more looked like is a thing of like just utter defeat in the sense of like this has happened again to me. I can't believe this. Like it was like that.
We're staying rock hard, boys. We're staying rock hard. They picked up where they left off. They're right back. They're right back winning games. 16 kill first place win for ROC. They're looking good. Some are saying that it's a podcast buff because Deeds was on last week. I'm not saying that. I think it's just the media. I think New York Times picked it up. I saw it on ESPN. So thank you guys, I guess, but we're not really asking for the credit. We just had a good time with Deeds, and that's really what it comes down to.
Shout
Big
out
bounce
ROC.
back.
They've been good. Like Deeds. They have a lot of confidence that they're rolling with right now. I love to see it.
Now on the other side of that, the interview that we had before that, we had NIP Ninjas of Pajamas down there at 17th. And the final game, I heard McLovin scream, fuck, and then immediately turned stream off after he slammed his desk. Hopefully he has the desk I use.
The Apex the pod.
I think that's where it cut off as he was ending stream. That's what he was trying to say. But out of all the teams that didn't do as well, Dawn, was there one that kind of surprised you?
I think it probably was an IP. I really, again, I feel like they typically do a good job of making the best of most situations where they get a zone pull to them, pull away from them. Like they've been able to play zone, they've been able to play for kills. And we just never really saw them kind of have like those fights that kind of got them going. Cause I think this is a team that once they kind of snowball and win a bunch of fights, like I'm eager to see them put up 30-point games. I mean, I think what was it, regional finals? They had like back-to-back like 20, 25-point games or something like that. Like I can't remember if it was regional finals or like a pro league day
regional
or something
finals
like that. But,
and LAN, I think.
Yeah,
No,
but
like EWC, they did it. They had like a 24 or 2 back-to-back 24s, and then regional final they had I think 2 back-to-back wins or like 2 crazy games. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's just a team that it's just like when that one fight like triggers them, they're able to win like a clean 33 or something. they again can just snowball that into a huge win or just a huge, KP game. And yeah, again, it just really seemed like they never found that fight that really got them going. I mean, yeah, I mean, just even seeing, Vayne with only 2 kills on the day, McLovin with only 4, Karev with only 5. I mean, that's just not numbers you expect this roster to have. But I know a big thing, again, that I think that I do want to mention with a lot of these teams potentially struggling is there were a couple really key changes to the Evos and ring timings because with the ring timing, it's usually started when the first ring would pop at 60 seconds, and now it's 40. And the Evo cash spawn time was 80 seconds like into the game, and now it's 95. And for Apex, when everything is so timing based, when it comes to like rotates or setting up your plans or whatever the case is, you have to obviously include the Evos in your pathing. So now when you're seeing, oh wait, like we still got to wait that additional 15 seconds to see where it spawns, that just gives more teams time, to a little bit more. And then you have so many teams that are converging on these Evos. And I just think that really was this first week was the adjustment period of like, yeah, you can play that out in scrims, you can practice as much as you can, but it just is not going to be the same like a match day. So I really think that, yes, like NIP definitely struggled in 3-3. There's a lot of things that like individually that they did that made their day as bad as it was. But I think when you see this many teams that we expect to do well, don't do well, I think changes like that are a huge thing to point to because, again, just when everything is so much about timing in this esport, any changes that you see is going to make the game shift on its head. And I just think that we saw a lot of that in this first match day. But again, specifically for NIP, I expect them to bounce back. But again, we'll just have to see going into this weekend.
And Jumba, going into not just timing changes for the beacons and the Evos, but we also had a lot of legend changes and a lot of weapon changes. And now I know that a lot of times these are the best players in the world, so it doesn't take as long for them to adapt. But I would say that probably some players have a certain preference that leans towards whatever it is. And now it's like, we have the Peacekeeper in there. That one's really strong as well as like the RE45. You have the 30-30. You have these different guns that are kind of getting phased in. I think the 30-30 was still being used at the last land. And so I think sometimes certain players are just preferential to a different meta. And maybe this could be the byproduct of a changing meta for some of these other teams near the bottom.
Yeah, I think so we saw so much PK on day one, but then like if you look at it and you think like PK had something like 329 kills in NA, or maybe it was actually overall. Either way, PK led the pack, but if you added R9 and RE45 kills, the spray weapons actually kind of take over.
Really?
I think but I think we'll like see that completely change. I think PK is so strong right now. I think we're going to see way more Newcastle, way more Gibby. Like there's a little bit of it showing up. I think we'll see it way more. Even Donnie was watching scrims today, said, can't believe we're getting Newcastle, Gibby, Rampart again. I think we're going to start seeing that add up and up and up. Everyone's going to be running PK. And I think PK is going to take over. Imperial Hal might have been right when he said PK needs the nerf. I put out a tweet saying I like both guns, like spray weapons and shotguns being in the meta. No, I think it's going to be a heavy shotgun meta again. That shit's so tough. And yeah, it goes to what you're saying. I think that there's just some players that don't excel in shotgun metas. And the other crazy part is it's not even a shotgun meta. It's a PK meta specifically.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Actually, Eva might be crazy. Eva might be slept on. Maybe I'm like going through that. I think Eva is. I think there's a couple people who are going to think about start playing with Eva. There was a APAC North player that used Eva 8 only and dropped 27 kills in 3 games. Proceeded to drop 5 kills in his next 3 games after that, but like still, or 4 kills in his next 3 games after that. But like 27 in his first 3, apparently using Eva only. I didn't watch it. I just heard Wig talking about it.
Yeah.
But, I'll get into that later because that was insane. But no, it's 100% to that point. Like that's interesting. And then also the 30-30, just seeing like not necessarily the kills, obviously, but just the play time and damage dealt with the 30-30. It's just like, I wonder what the meta gut is for the long range and marksman right now. But I think just with how the 30-30 set up, how the charge rifle set up, how the G7 is still really good. Like obviously all these guys are really good, but like when you have guns that like, again, charge rifle with one shot can hit like 190 across the map. Like, I mean, I could even do that in a ranked game. So imagine what that is like for pro players when they have that capability. Like, it just can absolutely flip any fight on its head because you can have a straight 3v3, But if you're like a barometer zone and you're playing on one side of the POI, all it takes is somebody from the top tower to hit you for 190, and you're losing that 3v3. It doesn't matter what you do. So it's even stuff like that you got to factor into.
Take into what Donnie said about like, so it takes longer to Evo. There's less on the map. People are running around on fucking white shields. Alliance, the team that like they didn't do great until like their second set or second 3 games when they got into E districts. But when they're on Storm Point, they struggled because they're playing the way they typically know how to play. They like to play. And Hackus literally tweeted out that like he didn't realize how much 30-30 and the charge rifle with like those armor changes, everything would be to adjust to. And that he just realized he's like, okay, we have to play it completely different than what we're used to. We can't be fucking taking these long edge rotates and everything like that, because they were just getting absolutely deleted out on the. I think they had 4 points in their Storm Point games, something like 45 in their E District games after that.
Mhm.
So, which obviously there's not as much open space with all the buildings, so like
Yeah.
they're able to rotate around without getting fried in the open. So. Yeah, the long range meta too, it's like we've always had poke in long range, but when you factor in no helmets, white shields, you get fucking skull piercer by just doing damage now. This shit's broken. It's like it's a different beast now.
Well, and good luck trying to take balloons anymore to rotate. Like,
Yeah.
you try to take a balloon on edge, and everyone else is already in zone. You've got Monsoon with his charge rifle. You got freaking all these 30-30s popping off. Like, it's like war zone just trying to take a balloon right now.
30-30 hits for 120. Charge rifle, like you said, could hit for 198. But if you got that select fire, like you just spray a guy down, which I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw in in actual Aegis comp, it takes more damage to get your hop ups. Like in ranked, it's like 200 to get your select fire on the charge rifle, but like it's more in thing. But nonetheless, like still not a lot of damage. Something like Monsoon sitting in zone.
Yeah.
You got that. You got what else? One shots or like does anyone's running a Sentinel, which we did not see at all, but that does 158. Got so many long range weapons that could just literally like kill you in one shot almost.
I mean, how good these guys are with the G7. I mean, they can just spray 4 bullets and you're basically 1 health. It's I mean, there's so much you can choose from long range right now. And like you mentioned with like more people on white shields earlier on, like it just every little, like it obviously always mattered, but now like every little decision with where you're rotating and how quickly you're doing it is now even more important just because there's less evos, you're on worse shields. It just, I mean, again, I think you just saw so much of these teams trying to make these adjustments on day one. And again, credit to those that were locked in and were able to kind of make that adjustment right away.
Last thing on the gun meta I'll say, because I know you're yapping around it here, is like the PK, right? They did not nerf the damage when it came out of the care pack. All they did is they got rid of headshot damage, which who's really going for headshots with a PK, right?
Yeah.
And then they increased the spread. I don't know by how much, but clearly not a lot where it's like you can still hit for a lot of damage. They increased the spread, but then the last thing they did is they increased the mag. So they took it from 5 bullets when it was in the care pack to 6. It's a care package PK on the ground, bro. I don't think anyone's talking about this enough except for Hal, who got fucking roasted online.
Yeah.
Well, and the last, and sorry, we keep saying the last thing, but it is also important to mention. You get your abilities come back quicker with PK.
the accelerator.
So like
we should get into amps at some point, but like Power Booster was the most used amp, and you use Power Booster and then PK, and you have your ult and your tack up all the time.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
there's just so much stuff that it's just insane. We could go for another 2 hours about it.
I think the true endorsement should be my good friend Brian's face holding a PK, because if he's getting kills with it, you should probably look into the weapon. You should probably look into the weapon. Shout out GMB. Shout out DMR. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on here into the little last thing I wanted to say. I was just looking ahead, and I'm glad you mentioned him. I might be jinxing his ass.
Oh no.
I'm heavy watching Team Oblivion this week.
No.
I'm heavy watching Team Oblivion this week. Last time we had a shotgun sniper meta, Monsoon went insane. And by insane, I don't actually know the statistics, but I felt like he did good.
Yeah.
And that's how I do my analysis.
Remember our interview with him? Like he when there's a sniper shotgun meta, Monsoon's living life.
He's living life. So keep an eye out.
Yeah,
keep an eye out.
What a top 10 right at champs for them during that meta.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, so I mean it definitely fits them 100%.
I'm curious to see how bans play into it though, because like we're not gonna have every game Newcastle and Gibby, which really forces you have to use shotguns. So it will be good to see like how those late games go. But there are still legends that like force it. I feel like if you're playing, even caustic because of gas, if you have to get into gas and get out, like you're gonna get more value out of a 108 pump than you're gonna get for
Yeah.
a guy trying to get like a one clip. So it will be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very interested to see just a thing on like Legends since you kind of brought it up. I'm wondering if Gibby is going to start getting a better pick rate with the shotguns and even a small outlier. I'm very curious if Maggie starts becoming a better pick in later points of the set since she gets the shotgun boost and everything, obviously. So those are two legends. I'm going to be very curious to see if these pick rates change. It may not be necessarily for Maggie in the Americas, but for some of these APAC teams, that could be a big thing that picks up because they love Maggie over there. But yeah, I'm really curious for NAs or the Americas especially what the Gibby pick rate's going to be moving forward because I really truly think with it being shotguns heavy right now, that could be something that we see an uptick in, especially like a team like Durags, I believe, used him all 6 games or at least 4 of 6 or 5 or 6, something like that. So
Yeah,
that'd be
even
something I'm
EMEA,
curious
I
about.
saw Nasky have some good moments on it.
Yeah.
Where I was like they didn't have the best of days, but at the very least, when they were in fights, Gibby was going crazy for them.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah, so this weekend, ladies and gents, we're going to have A versus C. And then on Sunday, we're going to have B versus C in the Americas. And that is how it's going to go. Boys and girls, we're
I
going
want
to
to
set it on
shout out
down.
one more thing, actually.
Go ahead.
I want to shout out one more thing. DMG, which I didn't pay attention to DMG. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. I only noticed this right now. I was talking literally before we got on this call about this player. There's a guy who's like a viewer of mine. He hopped in our community tournament the other day. In BLGS, this dude dropped behind me once he was like typing in chat because he recognized me. Dropped behind us in our first game of BLGS ever. Absolutely fucking cooked mine and Moreover's ass to the point where we thought he was stream sniping us. He wasn't. And then he went to like BLGS finals, and I remember like having a little bit of a tussle and beef with Falcons because he was rolling their ass. And that's Future Streams, and he's part of DMG, and they got top 5 on the day. Shout out him. I'm gonna be watching closely now because I didn't realize he was
Canadian.
in Pro League now. And that was the other thing. I noticed he was Canadian. So shout out. Like I'm gonna be
Dude.
paying close attention to their team. I hope they do good. Starting off that was pretty sick. Shout out Future
Yeah,
Streams.
they came out and won game 1. Like that's how
Yeah.
locked those boys were in. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely awesome to see.
Like
I
none of them have
hovered
Wikipedia
over-
pages or anything. Like you can't find anything about these guys.
Yeah.
I might
I
DM them
hovered
in
over
Discord.
the team and I saw the Canadian flag next to Future Streams. I was like, it's going to be Future Streams.
I don't know if they're
that's who it
all.
is.
And the funny thing is, I don't know if they're all Canadian. Anyways, he just seems like he's the only one that has a Canadian
I
flag
know.
on his thing.
I know.
But yeah,
Nobody
shout
else
out.
does.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'll
There you
take
go.
that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be.
We'll have to keep an eye. We'll have to keep an eye. Okay. Before we send it on down to the heart to heart and get you guys ready for the weekend of Pro League, let's talk about the regional recap. All of the different regions. Obviously, we talk mostly about the Americas region, but let's go through all of them and we'll kick it off, Dawn, first with EU. Let's start with EMEA. Let's go to Europe and let's talk about what's been going down in EMEA. What'd you see this week?
Yeah, so kind of like the Americas, we had some surprises, I think, to say the least. Some teams you wouldn't necessarily expect to probably win the day. We had Cybercats ended up taking the day. A team that's mainly known for a great Twitter, by the way. If you don't follow Cybercats, please do. They are give me very much Aurora vibes when it comes to Twitter. A lot of jokes, a lot of good puns, all that good stuff. But anyway, Cybercats played pretty well. Only 19 kills in the day, which is kind of crazy to win a match day with only 19 kills. But they placed really well. I think they only had one game where they were outside the top 4, which is, again, just insane consistency. So big shout out to them when it came to that. Just a lot of great zone calling from them. They positioned themselves well and held very controllable spots for most of the game. And I mean, they were even putting out a ton of damage. They put out the 3rd most damage in the lobby. So they were definitely still involved, but I think a lot more of just kind of controlling their space versus, taking a bunch of 3v3s. So big shout out to them. And again, huge start for them to start off Pro League. We had Alliance struggle mightily on Stormpoint, kind of like we mentioned during the initial parts of the episode, but they had 4 points on Stormpoint, which you just don't expect that from Alliance, to say the least. But they had 45 on E-District, showed up and showed out on that map. So they end up coming back to finishing. Hold on real quick. Coming back to finishing fifth. So again, I think based on how the day started, they'll obviously take that, still finishing in the top five. So big shout out to Alliance there. The big name, I think, definitely when it came to kills was Citadel Gaming. That is the old Nemesis roster. They just switched over orgs with Citadel Gaming, and they were absolutely fragging out all three members in double-digit kills. That's Zuni, that's Kashi, and Remix Powers. Again, very experienced roster now. Played very well in terms of a 3v3 fighting. And ultimately, I think we're the team that were the most aggressive and, again, just overall played very well. Zuni ended up leading the lottie with 15 kills. But yeah, they were definitely the most aggressive team. So big shout out to them. The only other main notable that people probably want to hear about would be Nasky's team with 07. They finished sixth on the day. Played pretty well outside of 2 games. And overall, still, they're kind of like a team that's going to play a lot more zone, not take as many fights, but be very smart about how they play. And overall, they definitely looked very good. The main differences, when it comes to like bans and things like that, pretty standard bans, except for Watson, got played a little bit further into the match day. When you compare it to like the Americas region, Watson got banned in game 5 versus got banned in game 2 for the Americas. So that's a big notable thing to mention. And then Bangalore is definitely a lot more played over in EMEA than it is in the Americas. Got picked 46 times versus 16 times in the Americas region. So just in terms of some meta differences, that's some things you can maybe expect moving forward for EMEA.
Now we move into APAC. I think I clicked on North. Yes. So now we move into APAC North. We've got E36. They took the lead on the day with 71 points. Right behind them was So10. Right behind that in third was Fnatic. And then fourth place was Dory. So E36 continues to play like they were playing before. Fnatic closely behind them. Let's talk about some of these other teams in APAC North and what was going on in that region.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, E36 ends up taking the day. They were basically top 5 most of the day, but they were not first going into the last game. That was actually Soten based on their performances throughout the day. But E36 drops a 17-kill win in E36 fashion. For those who remember Champs, kind of having those big kill games and how well they played back in Sapporo. But they end up sealing the day, end up taking the win, which is big for them to get off to a hot start. Same roster as before. Again, played very well throughout the day, and a team we definitely will need to keep an eye on as Pro League advances. Soten really was definitely a very interesting story to watch. They had 69 points on the day, with 53 of those being from kills. So they were not worried about where they were finishing games. They were just absolutely running down lobbies. Like Jumba had mentioned during earlier in the episode. They had a guy, his name is, let me make sure I say this right, Kakagori. 27 kills in the first 3 games, running Pathfinder from game 1, running the Eva, has his shotgun. And I mean, dude was just throwing his body over the place and just absolutely nuking people. It was kind of entertaining to watch, to see somebody on Pathfinder be very aggressive and kind of frag out. Whereas we kind of seen a lot of Pathfinders lately, kind of like a Hawkus, where it's more used for rotations and kind of as like the IGL or anchor role. So it was really cool to see somebody really, I think, bring out the full potential of Pathfinder like we used to see in the early ages of Apex competitive. But so they added Mia K, which is a ton of experience to that roster. So I think that is, if they can kind of balance the aggressiveness with, maybe a little bit more placement at times, I think that'll definitely be a team we'll need to keep our eye on as well. And then, like you mentioned, Fnatic takes third overall. Just a pretty standard, solid performance. Nothing really too crazy to go on about with them. Again, they all end in double-digit kills, which we come to expect, obviously, with Fnatic being with how good they are at fighting. But again, I think with UKF leading the way, I think Colonel Garcia and Libel Ace will only get better. I'd kind of mentioned it. We were talking about during EWC. I didn't think EWC would be theirs to win. I thought that this would be more of a long-term project, with now that we have this gap to champs and it being in Japan. I really do think when we see them a few months down the road, this could be a roster that we're like, damn, like they are going to compete for the title over in champs. So I think this Pro League is going to be big for them. Again, the team that I think everyone's always keeping an eye on, with it being Fnatic, but I think with this roster, with their capability of what they can build into, I am very excited to see what happens with them. And I know you are too, Wyatt. I'm sure
Yeah.
being in Japan, seeing the fans cheering for them last year, that was definitely special. So we hopefully get to see that back again once again.
Yeah, I want to see it loud again. I definitely want to see it loud again. Let's move on into APAC South here. And Donnie, the region that currently holds the reigning LAN champion picked up right where it left off, with a lot of the teams that you'll remember from this most recent LAN still at the top, starting off with Wolves Esports. They had 88 points. Second place wasn't very close, but it was still second nonetheless. That was Genji Esports. Third place was Tom Young Kung. And then fourth place was JD Gaming. Wolves and Genji, Donnie, they had an incredible EWC. They're right back where they left off. VK Gaming, the winner, they were down there in 12th. I'm just going to call that a championship hangover.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get to them in a second. I definitely want to give the flowers over to Wolves Esports and Genji. Definitely the two most consistent teams throughout the day. They played very well. Definitely were controlling a lot of the lobbies, but Wolves Esports really was the story. Again, we saw their kind of ascension into, the global kind of eye, and everybody kind of really realizing like, oh, like it's not just VK Gaming. Like there is multiple teams out of this region that had something to prove, and they were one of those three, along with Genji and VK Gaming. I think that were definitely the biggest, upsides of EWC. Wolves really balanced out the day. They had the kills, they had the wins. No Name doing an amazing job. He led the lobby with 20 kills. And yeah, it was just all around an amazing performance to watch. They had 26,000 damage as a team.
Good
which
God.
Second closest, just for context, was 16,000. So they almost were doubling up teams when it came to damage, which is absolutely insane. But I mean, you just watch these guys play, and it was a ton of fun to watch. If they're able to keep up their ability in 3v3 fights, they're going to continue to be at the top of the heap when it comes to APAC South. I do want to mention as well, Genji, again, that being the old Makers and Green Stego roster. They were also amazing. And I do want to correct myself. It was Asia that actually led the lobby. He had 22 kills. There is a clip that on Storm Point where they're on the rocks just outside, like going into like Launchpad, that where the end zone was ending. And his R99 spray from an MNK player is actually insane. Like I knew that was a good roster that knew how to fight, but just seeing that in like a 30-45 second sequence of just absolutely beaming people with an R9 as an MNK player, like that just, again, it's something I could watch on repeat over and over. So they're going to be a roster we're definitely, again, continue to keep an eye on. Again, they are both in that position like we've talked about with some of the teams in the Americas that have, they've locked up their position for champs. So what can they improve on as the split goes on? That's going to be the main thing we'll keep an eye on. And then, like you mentioned, VK Gaming really is the other story. For those who don't know, QQ, who is the MVP of the midseason playoffs, he is not playing this split. Some things have rumored as I believe it would be the Taiwanese military service. That's not 100% confirmed, so I don't want to say like 100% certainty, but he is 100% taking the split off. He has already confirmed he'll be back for champs. It's just gonna be this gap from then to now. He will not be playing. Overall, it kind of just played out how you'd expect with VK not having like their main, one of their main players. Wasn't really a big day for them. Again, they finished 12th. They had 22 kills or 28 points, 22 kills. So again, wasn't really a big placement day for them. But I think as they build throughout the split, again, it's going to be a lot more of, what can LQ and Casa kind of do to kind of prepare themselves for when QQ comes back. Again, they're fully locked for champs, so they really don't have to worry about, how exactly they perform. It's just going to be a seeding thing for them. But with them winning, a LAN, they're going to have a shit ton of points. So their seeding shouldn't really be too affected because the Pro League splits don't have anything too crazy. So that'll just be something to keep an eye on to see kind of how they develop as time goes on. But again, it's APAC South is always a great time to watch. I always really enjoy it. I'm glad they at least have some sort of a broadcast. Shout out to Battleground. They're the ones that are doing the official broadcast. And I know they definitely are. They're very grassroots, kind of build it up by themselves, sort of production. So I'm very excited to see how that develops over time as well. So big shout out to them. And yeah, the only other thing I'll just say is they just do not play things like they do in the Americas. They had 12 Newcastle picks comparative to 37 in the Americas. They had a bunch of Bangalore picks, unlike the Americas. They had a bunch of Sparrow picks, unlike the Americas. So they do their own thing down there. And I tell you what, if anybody really feels like staying up in the States on a late Friday night, Saturday morning to watch, I highly recommend, because it is just a brand of Apex that you just won't see with the Americas sometimes. So definitely give it a listen, or give it a watch if you can. I might even try to do some streams of some different regions moving forward on my channel. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But no, it's a fun region to watch. And again, really just kind of, it's fun to kind of kick off the Pro League weekends with Apex South, because it is high octane, it's entertaining. And by the time you get to the Americas, it's like, holy shit, I'm on this roller coaster. And now I'm to the Americas, where you see some of the best teams in the world. So it's fun to watch.
One last thing. Wolves Esports worst placement was 6th. 2nd, 5th, 6th, 3rd, 1st, 2nd.
I mean, it's pretty good. I think that's going to do pretty well most days.
Yeah, I think you're going to do well with that.
Yeah.
I think you're going to do well with that. And then mix in the 11 kills, the 10 kills, the 8, the 7, the 7. Yeah, you're going to do all right.
Yeah, do you get 44 kills, 44 placement points? I mean, you can't really write that up any better than that. So.
That's the perfect yin and yang. That's what 100%. You're looking for, folks.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that should just about do it for the regional recap. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw it on down to the heart-to-heart and then send you guys into the weekend, where we've got a lot more Pro League coming up, and we can't wait to break it all down. Let's get it. All right. It is time for the heart-to-heart. Jumba, how are we feeling?
Donnie knows how I'm feeling. I have to do a video.
Oh no.
Where I got a PC sent to me. And I talked with the company and everything like that, and I said I was going to do a video. I've never hit Masters before, so there's a very good storyline I have in my head around the idea of me trying to hit Masters, and I just decided to choose the season where it's fucking hard as shit. And but like, things have been going good. I've been playing with Connor. If you guys aren't familiar with Connor Progence, used to edit the podcast and everything like that. And then our other buddy Typhik, and we were grinding hard. I was Diamond 3. Okay. This is what I was talking about. If you guys remember when I kind of briefly brought up about needing to talk to E about gaming with him.
Yeah.
So when I talked to E, nothing was locked in yet, but it got locked in. Everything moved very fast. And there's only like 11 days left of the split. So I have to game a lot. So today I have put everything else of work I've had on hold. And today I got on at 11 a.m. and I started playing, and I played until about 5 o'clock. And like I said, I was Diamond 3, and now I'm almost Plat 1, if that makes sense. I lost 800 straight RP, or 789. I guess I shouldn't round up. So my mental was torched. I had a headache. I need to go take a nap. I've had an espresso. I have not ate because I ate 2 fucking burritos mid fucking session because I thought that would help the vibes. It didn't. But I can't say it's only up from here because I could definitely keep going down. However, I feel like, no, it could absolutely get worse. I feel like I'm just gonna, this is all for the plot and things are gonna go good. I'm really excited to get back onto Apex, I think, and grind. That's all I want to do. But I did feel like this has to feel what degenerate gambling feels like. You know what I mean? Like it's like I was betting. It's like what I felt betting $5 was like, and then every time I lose, I'm like, this next one's gonna hit, and like another 5, and this next one's gonna hit another 5, and then I'd make $10 and be like, okay, I'm down 200, but like that's something here, and then like another 5, and then another 5, and another 5, and the next thing you know, I'm down like fucking $2,000, and I was like, how did that happen? But this is the thing. 750 RP, 780 RP. What's that? Like 4 good games? We need to win 4 games. I can do that, right? I think so.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep the vibes up. This is day one of the recording.
There we go.
That's the heart to heart. I don't know what that fucking tells any of you. I need to get E to hopefully like play with me.
That's where we're at. That is where we're at.
He killed me today. Well, he didn't kill me. He was dead already. But fucking Gent and then fucking Jay Savage. Like I run into them as I'm freaking trying to rotate because our teammate died. I'm trying to rotate, and I run into, I wasn't playing with Connor Tyvik this time. This is actually, I'm playing with Onset and one other friend. And I run into Gent, bro, as I'm being shot in the back by another player.
This can't happen.
Actually, I can't complain, though, because those are the lobbies I'm trying to get to.
Yes, but not now.
Well, it's just like there's one Pred team in my lobby, and I run into Enoch and Gent.
Yeah.
Enoch was dead, though. I'll say that. Enoch was dead. Got to grill him about that.
Dawn, your heart to heart.
I guess for me, not to probably rub it in, even though it's definitely gonna feel that way, but
No, you could do it.
the
know what happened
slingshot
last- yeah.
method is apparently a thing. So obviously last time I talked about ranked, I was down bad.
Just
Basically losing just under what Jumbo had lost. So I guess shout out to him for losing more than I did somehow. But anyway, regardless, also different lobbies, so I'll give him that as well, since
I
I'm
guess
basically just all plat lobbies. So
you played
but-
a lot more games to lose yours if you think about it. Because I lose
Yeah,
about
yeah,
25
yeah.
or 30 more RP. I don't know how you
Yeah.
stuck through it that long.
I don't know. I think we went through the seven stages of Apex, so denial definitely being one of the main ones. But anyway, no, we, I mean, me, Kyle, and Matt, both got a couple guys from the GMB pod. We've been trying to do a Road to Master series, like we probably mentioned last time, and yeah, we were down bad, but people were hitting the VOD reviews. Shout out Jay for helping out Matt with some stuff, and yeah, things have gone really well the last 3 times we played. I think we're just shy under like 1800 1900 RP over probably like 8-9 hours, since we haven't been able to have like a long session. But yeah, we played only like 2 hours yesterday and gained like 600-700
600
RP.
RP, I think.
Yeah. So we're feeling good. We made it to a lot of in games. We're feeling a lot better about it, and yeah, just big shout out to the slingshot method, I guess, because apparently
There it
that
is.
apparently
It
it actually
works.
is a thing. So
Dude,
You heard it here first.
I can't believe I'm hitting Diamond 2 in like 2 or 3 days. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's what I took from that. Yeah,
It's gonna be so cool when you do it too. It's gonna
There
be
we go.
so cool.
the plot's gonna be crazy.
let's hear
My
what.
heart to heart this week, I am so locked in on
D1.
Call of Duty Zombies right now. I just can't. My brain. I watched like 6 videos at work today about the highest round records and how they were able to be achieved.
I know that
Dude,
that guy you're
Awesome
talking about.
YouTuber
Great
named
videos.
Wonderful
Great
with a
videos.
U.
Great
Dude,
videos.
his videos are so
So good.
good.
So good.
And they're perfect for work because it's like they're all really long. So
Perfect
it's
for
like,
work.
Dude, well, no,
Perfect for work 'cause I'm not working.
yeah. Well, I mean, I am.
I'm teasing, I'm
Okay,
teasing.
so like I
I'm playing.
am working, but I am also not, if that makes sense. You know?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm doing things, but I'm not like you ever like drive home and you don't realize that you just made it home. You were like so deep in thought and you're like, how the fuck did I get home? That's how work feels when I'm listening to one of those videos. Like I'm doing things, I'm getting stuff done, but like I don't know. And then a lot of times, you just like, okay, maybe I should like really lock in here. And then, you just start thinking like, what is the round record on Buried? Like, what is that? Like, who did it?
Buried was a
Who
tough
did it?
one. Game
It
always
was.
kept crashing. They
Yeah,
had to find the fast.
It was a huge issue.
That's what the funny thing about. That's what the funny thing about. Yeah, that's what the funny thing about fucking COD Zombies Easter eggs, especially Black Ops 2, is that half the battle isn't just the strategy. It's actually playing fast enough so the game doesn't crash.
Yeah, that's like, but the science that comes out from it, the way that they figure out how to do it is crazy. Like every single time, it's absolutely nuts
Shout
how
out
they
Wonderful.
get it done,
If you're a Zombies fan, go watch these videos.
dude.
The
Seriously,
transit
and
one he released recently was like banger.
the that was the first one that I watched. The saddest thing about his videos is there's not enough of them. I want more. I'm like, I want everything. Like I see so many of like the Black Ops 2 ones. I want to see the Black Ops 3 ones. I want to see the Black Ops 4 ones. Like I want to see all of these records. So yeah, I'm just so locked in on Zombies right now. If you guys want to go check out the show Pack a Pod, we just released a new episode today. We're just locked on Zombies right now. I'm forcing myself to play Die Rise for a full week every single day as long as I can. And I have an idea, and I haven't pitched it to the boys. They may shoot it down. But I think this weekend what I'm going to do is try to go solo to 30 on Die Rise, which sounds like not that much. But I have died on like round 9 every single time I play that map because I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know where to go.
Why would I shoot down an idea of you trying to hit round 30?
I don't
Do it,
know.
bro.
Because
Do it.
might just be
Do it.
lame. Might just be
No.
lame, But every time I've played that map, I die on round 9 because I'm trying to figure out because the perks change every round. They change elevators. I didn't find Juggernog till my 5th game. Like it just kept changing from the ones. It took me forever to figure out how to get to the roof.
I think once you get the hang of it, you'll get there really easy because Die
Yeah.
Rise, do you know how to like get the
I
fucking
so by
glitched
the
out
end of it,
Sliquifier?
I had gotten to round 11, and then I kind of like I was more messing around because it was already like midnight 30, and I had to go to work the next day. So I was like, all right, I'll just fuck it. I was just shooting the Sliquifier everywhere, and then I slid into a zombie and died. But you know, we got there, and I kept saying I just want to see Juggernog. If I see Juggernog, I'll buy it, and then whatever happens, happens. But I just want to have some fun with the map. I learned a lot
we
about
have
it
to
today.
redo Die Rise Easter egg.
Well, we have to redo it, and then we also have to do the other side because remember, there's 2 sides of that Easter egg.
Not for the video if the video ever gets done. I
yeah,
have to put that video on hold for
we
a
should
bit,
just
but,
do
like,
it though anyway.
Sure.
Yeah,
Just want to do the video stuff first because like that
yeah.
map
No, I
sucks.
got you.
That map's
By the way,
that map
though,
sucks more with more people, I think.
it
'Cause,
does.
like, as alone, like if you get that Sliquifier, you know how to upgrade it. You upgrade it. It's like a glitch. But like that, then it makes the game actually kind of easy.
And the Siliquifier one from the Wonderful video, apparently it was like one of the GOAT wonder weapons of all time,
No,
and
they
then
say
they
it's
made
the
a
greatest-
patch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was
Yeah.
the best fucking wonder weapon of all time. One
Yeah.
shot would clear an entire round, no matter what round. But like they nerfed it, but there's a glitch to technically bring it back to the pre-patch version. We'll talk about this off pod.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. See, I'm just deep in zombies right now. I'm deep in zombies right now, folks. I am deep in zombies. But ladies and gents, thank you guys for tuning in as always. That should just about do it for this week's show. We've got a double header this weekend, and I think what we're going to do is after the games are over on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to try to go live on YouTube, and if the boys want to hop in, they can. We're just going to talk it over for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And then when we record the episode, because it is later in the week, we'll just kind of do like a recap, like a quick one, not as in depth as right after when we do like a live stream. I just want to get some more lives out there. And I feel bad sometimes when I release an episode on Friday and the games are literally on Saturday and Sunday. Some people might actually like that because it gets them hyped up for the weekend. But I don't know. It just doesn't give the video a whole lot of time for people to find it. But thank you guys for tuning in as always. We'll catch you guys next week for another edition of the Apex, the podcast for Split 2 Pro League. Let's get it. See ya.